Hey, my name's Ashlee. I am from Houston, Texas. I am a flow artist. My primary platform is Instagram, and it's ash_juggles. I started spinning in January of 2014, so I guess that's about 8 years. My first prop was Poi. Definitely put the most time into that prop. It's got my heart for sure, I'd say. Yeah, my first exposure was I just met a group of friends in the music scene, and a lot of them did this. They spun fire, started hanging out with them, thought it was super cool, and just wanted to try it. And I just, got some sock poi and just started watching YouTube Nick Woosley videos back in the day, watched the whole Play Poi series, got absolutely obsessed, and just would spin for hours every single day like it was my full-time job. What motivated me to get into spinning poi, I guess, was my first prop. I had a friend who moved super gracefully. I saw a lot of people spinning fire, but she definitely moved with such ease. And at the time, I didn't really understand the complexity of what was happening. And honestly, she was doing very simple patterns and things like that, but just the way that she moved with it, how slow and controlled and clean it was, I just wanted to feel that graceful. And so it was definitely the exposure, but wanting to find something that allowed me to feel free and expressive. And that was definitely a huge motivator. Yeah, and just seeing the joy that it would bring the people I was seeing doing it, and just how happy they seemed. I am definitely a super passionate person, and it just was very appealing to think about having something to devote that energy into. Flow state is definitely being in the present moment and being completely connected to yourself and everything around you. Experiencing existence in its most pure and raw form, and not having to live in this created reality we have inside our mind. It's just being completely here and experiencing what we're supposed to experience, which is the beauty of everything and being a part of that. So flow has impacted my life in a multitude of ways. One of the biggest ones, just being community and being able to connect with people on such a level. I found I'm super passionate, obviously, about pushing forward and diving super deep into a prop, but I'm also super passionate about understanding that and connecting through flow arts. I love teaching. I've learned that I almost feel like teaching is a bigger passion for me than actually spinning the prop itself. And I think about the reasons behind that, and it's just the connection, the joy that you could help facilitate with another individual by explaining something and watching the joy that they have getting the trick, and then connecting through that because you know what that feels like, and being able to pass that on is just something otherworldly in a sense. So yeah, definitely through community, through goal setting, being able to see what can happen if we just devote time to something. I mean, I feel I've learned so much about my own capabilities in the sense of just starting small and being hey, I want to get this trick, and it's going to take this. Understanding how to break things down and how that applies to other areas of your life. I got this big goal, but I need to learn these steps. And that is honestly one of the most important things I think I've ever learned. I feel I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about patience and how to know that if I just keep with being persistent and pursuing whatever it is that I want to do, then what it is that I'm trying to attain is going to happen. Also just finding that state of play, because I feel the deeper you get into something, it's definitely, you can kind of get lost. You can kind of get lost into diving into the technical bits. But the more you dive into the technical bits, the wider range of things you have to play with are. And just really I think that's one of the most important things, is finding that balance of not getting too consumed by needing to push forward, and just pausing and enjoy everything that you've attained so far. So it's been really interesting to use it as a kind of representation of that in life, finding that balance. I guess what inspires my flow is the connection that it brings me to myself and to other people. Getting into that state of play, as I feel I definitely see myself in my life. I'm kind of a go, go, go kind of person, and it is something that allows me to feel really grounded when I am spending so much time doing all these things. It's something that can bring me back and just allow me to pause and breathe and just be. And it's something that I need. Like, flow is a huge part of what keeps me sane and grounded and mentally healthy. I was in a really bad accident that prevented me from being able to use my body the way that I wanted to for like almost 2 years. And that was honestly the hardest time of my life. And I think it's because I use movement as such an important aspect that allows me to feel freedom and be expressive regardless of what it is that I'm trying to express. I'm trying to express hurt, sadness, joy, pain, love, anything. It's integral and like it's just necessary. Like, I need it to be a sane person. I would describe my style as being very fluid, intentional. Other people have used words such as graceful, slick. I also like to be sneaky. I love to add like super techie bits, but that's something that's like appealing to everyone. Steezy. Steezy for sure. At least I try. I love making contact with my body and feeling the closeness of the poi. So like even before I started diving into contact rolls and all of those things, like body tracing was huge for me. And I think it was feeling that connection of like actually making it super clean to like make contact with my body and feeling that closeness with the prop. There's something really beautiful and expressive about that. And so I think that is why I like contact poi so much and doing contact with clubs and love contact staff. It's that just that connection, you know, playing around with speed changes and size and thinking like how making this pattern as big as I can or as small as I can to create a different feeling and invoke a different story, I guess. I definitely go through periods with my training process of it being more rigorous and versus it being just in flux. I definitely would like to say that I have a super clean training process, but in reality, it's kind of just making the time when the time is available. It's definitely a priority for me. I definitely touch my props every day as much as I can, and life is always in flux, so it's just when we were talking about like my accident, you know, getting reintegrated into it, it's definitely like I've enjoyed the play aspect of it more. Whereas before, I think it was very much like push, drill to get better, and I find so much satisfaction in that and like attaining the trick. But now it's like after everything and finally feeling like the motivation to get back into it and feeling inspired, the play, like I feel like I focus way more on play than I ever have. And that's been really fun because it's like, okay, I had all this time off and like wasn't really diving super deep into it, but like what has stuck with me? Like what is my core? Like I'm finding like this is actually what my core flow is. And like how can I expand on that? And like really making those moves that I spent so time drilling, like really making them my own. And that's really cool. I first heard of Flow on Fire just through, I guess, seeing other people sponsored by them, and everybody always had such positive things to say, and my own experience is incredibly positive. I always saw them doing the most they could for the community and highest quality props I've ever seen by far, and consistency, and they're super fast, and they care a lot about the people they sponsor, but not just the people they sponsor. They care a lot about building community, and that's something that's super important to me. That's one of the reasons why I feel like we align so much and why I wanted to be sponsored by them, is because we have similar goals. And I love that I am a part of a team in which I share the same values with, because the owners of Flow and Fire are just incredible humans, and they really do They do such a good business. I feel like they're a true representation of what business should be and like what we should be aiming for. They're so innovative. They're always trying to find the best products for people to enjoy and like find that flow state. They really care about helping people find that bliss that exists in being present and being an artist, and they support artists. Regardless if you do like props or whatever, they have an appreciation for just like the healing that flow can bring, in whatever facet that is. I wanted to be on the Flow on Fire team because, like I said, our values align. The desire to build community, not just trying to be the best, although I mean, I definitely think that everyone that's on the team is super talented and we're, you know, leading the game in a way. Everyone's so positive and so uplifting and so wanting to like just help each other grow. And there's just that connection, and I think that's really awesome because that's what I want to do too. And it's just cool to be backed by a company that to be backing a company that I actually stand with. The majority of how I've contributed to the Flow community is just sharing all of the knowledge that I've attained throughout my own Flow journey, and helping other people grow on theirs. And I hope to continue doing that because I think I said earlier that teaching is definitely my hugest passion. As far as what I want to contribute more of is just making more content that's educational. Because something I wanted to do for a long time is just having resources for people to be able to learn what it is that they want to learn to advance however they want to, and be able to share that, because I do know that I have a knack for teaching. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback with how I teach, and knowing that, I definitely just want to create more resources. So definitely more video, more tutorial content, so everybody, can have access to that. Definitely just like in my own local community, like teaching workshops, hosting flow jams, just having people find a way to connect, because I think that's one of the most important things that we can do is definitely connect to ourselves, which the prop serves as a way for us to do that, but also just connecting with one another. Shout out to my wonderful partner, Kara. Thank you for always supporting me and always being there to hear me just talk endlessly about things that you have no idea what I'm talking about, but you just listen enthusiastically because you know how much joy it brings, regardless of how technical the trick is or whatever. I really do appreciate that. All my friends, Journey, Chongo, all my Houston homies, all my Flow and Fire peeps. Shout out to Britt and Kel for always being there to support me and always answer my questions, and just, being a part of my journey as growing as an artist, as you've been super, super important for that journey. Shout out to Laura, being my best friend, and she was always there along my Flow journey. I think that's good enough. It'll be fine.